So V3 has hit Honkai Star Rail, and I have yet to like completely read these. I just quickly took screenshots of them without paying attention. I've heard Moze has gotten a pretty significant improvement, and Feixiao is kinda meh. She got a meh improvement apparently. So let's see this. Ultimate cost is now 120 instead of 110, and Fuwa toughness damage from 60 to 30. That's already worse. That's already worse. Skill now give 9 stacks on the enemy hit. Oh, okay. Ult no longer gives 50% damage bonus for 2 turns. Damage modifier changes from 350 to 250. Automatically triggers follow-up after ult now. Okay, the no damage bonus sucks, but the follow-up after ult every single time seems to be pretty decent. Talent is changed. Allies hitting enemies marked by his skill reduce the skill stack counts. After allies hitting enemies marked by his skill. Okay. Every 3 stacks reduced equals launch a follow-up attack. Follow-up attack damage reduced from 200 to 160. That isn't that big of a deal. So I don't really care. I think this is a pretty big change though, because now he follow-ups a lot more often. Technique has changed. Now increase 30% damage on Moze for 1 turn. Talent 2 change after finishes the departed state, which by the way is the state where like he's invisible and he just disappears from the battlefield. Advance forward by 30%. Every new wave advance forward most by 30%. And then trace 3 changed. His ult is now considered as a follow-up. Enemy marked by skill now increases follow-up damage taken by 25%. That's pretty good. So any type of follow-up damage they take, it's increased by 25%. That's actually pretty strong. I've seen already a gameplay, and it does seem like Feixiao and Moze together are way better than they used to be. Like there's already an E0S10 cycle on YouTube. Like it seems like Moze and like they do follow-up after follow-up after follow-up after follow-up. It's pretty crazy. Now I think the only thing left is, oh wait, never mind. His E1 entering battle regenerates 20 energy. Every time additional damage from the talent triggers, he gains 2 energy. Okay. This isn't anything crazy really, like at all. E2 increase crit damage by 40% for allies attacking enemies marked by his skill. Now this is pretty significant. That's pretty significant. Moze's damage increased by 30% for 2 turns after he uses his ult. Okay, that's not bad either. And E6 increased the follow-up multiplier by 25%. Now does that only him, or is that like everyone? I can't really. I really hope that. Actually, no. I think I'm being too delusional. This is probably only him, right? So now we go to Feixiao. Base speed. This is going to be a deal breaker for some of you guys. Her speed did get nerfed. Base speed reduced from 125 to 112. And on top of that, the 5 extra speed from her traces changed to 12.5% defense. So a huge hit to the speed that was in her kit. Like just straight up. Follow-up attack no longer deals toughness damage. Why? I don't really get that. Talent 1 gives 3 stacks instead of 4 when the battle starts. So you no longer start with 4 stacks at the beginning of a battle? It's 3 now? I don't like that. Like why? The entire complaint behind her is that her stacks take too long to get up. So then they decide to nerf the stacks again. Like what? Trace 2 now, or Talent 2 now additionally gives 36% crit damage buff for follow-up attacks. Okay. Talent 3 changed from 60% crit damage for follow-up attacks to a 48% attack buff for 3 turns after using skill. Okay. That's not bad. So I'm guessing because of this, I don't know if it's 3 turns in general or 3 of her turns. If it's 3 of her turns, you can just run speed boots to make up for the fact that you lose on her speed here. But it does suck that her speed did take a hit. Like straight up, it just sucks. Skill damage multiplier reduced from 240 to 200%. No longer gives 10% action advance. Now automatically triggers follow-up after using skill. Now this is the biggest thing that I've seen people saying is what makes her like she doesn't feel nerfed. She feels actually like slightly better to a lot of people. And from what I've seen, that 0 cycle I saw, that 0 cycle was like not even close. Like she still had an entire ult and like 2 other turns while Hule was at like 5% HP. So it does seem that her being able to follow up every single time she uses her skill is actually like huge. It's absolutely massive, right? Follow-up damage reduced from 200% to 110%, but now after follow-up it gives 60% damage bonus for 2 turns, which is pretty nice, pretty nice. And ultimate is now dealing from 840 to 1680% range. To oh, I see. I'm assuming this is if you have like you max out the trays to 1328 to 1796% range. Yeah, okay. But it does seem like the higher end of this percentage like kind of disappears for some reason. However, the base becomes a lot higher. I think before it was like it just doubled. Straight up it just doubled, right? Is that it? Nope. Fua follow-up not dealing toughness damage was wrong. Oh, okay. So the no toughness damage, was it here? Yeah, right here. Follow-up attack deals no toughness damage, question mark. So it's her initial after press of her ult that doesn't deal toughness damage now. I see. E1 now increases ultimate damage by 10% every time you tap during her ult. Max is 50%. By the way, if you guys don't know what this means, I believe that this just means like the first attack she does doesn't do toughness damage. That's what I'm assuming, right? This E1 is so much better than her previous E1, it's not even really close. So before, her E1 was something like it basically just did like an extra skills worth of damage. However, here you basically get a 10% damage bonus the first time you hit in your ult. Then the second time you tap, 20%. Third time you tap, 30%. And then it goes up to 50% at max. So while the stacks did seem to get nerfed, it does seem like... Sorry, I'm very tired. I just woke up. It does seem like her ult is overall stronger now if you have E1. Like by a pretty decent margin, right? E2 follow-up attack from talent now gives 1 extra stack. Her old E2 completely gone. So this E2 is straight up worse than the previous E2. The previous E2 made it to where whenever someone on the team hit once, it accounted for 1 stack. So what this is saying is she still can get 1 extra stack, However, it specifically has to be from her follow-up, I believe. Like, it can't be from anyone else. No matter what it seems, you can no longer get that E2 where everyone could get 1 stack for her each time they hit. So if you originally planned to go for E2 because of how broken it was, it got nerfed. Straight up, it's completely gone from her kit now. Only her E2 not only affects her follow-up attack, giving her an extra stack. E6 follow-up attack modifier buff is reduced from 360% to 140%. So if you were thinking of going for her E6, I just can't recommend this, man. This is complete garbage. Completely nerfed that E6. Holy shit. Your E4 increases follow-up damage taken on enemies by 10%. Used to be all of her damage considered as follow-up attack. So, one thing I want you guys to know that isn't on here, she can no longer like stack up to 12 stacks and then use all 12 stacks at once. What they changed is it's kind of similar to Acheron, where you can go over the amount of stacks you need to use your ult. Like, you can have 12 stacks, right? However, it will always use only 6 stacks. That's kind of the issue here, right? It will always use 6 stacks. Now, I'm assuming the reason why they did this might be because of her E1 right here. I really don't know, because her E1, like, after 5 hits of the stack, you have a 50% damage bonus on literally, like, every single, like, you have, like, 7 more attacks where you have 50% more damage on the ult attack. So I guess that might have been way too broken, so they capped it to where you can only use 6 stacks at max of your ult. However, it's like that now. You can't just do like 12 stacks worth of hits anymore. You would have to do like a 6 stack ult into another 6 stack ult. You get what I'm saying, right? So, according to people, now I don't want to shit on Sparkle again. However, some people were saying Sparkle may be a decent alternative for Robin when V1 and V2 Feixiao were in the game. No, not anymore. Sparkle takes another hit on this team where Robin actually got a bigger buff on this team and Sparkle went down. So Robin, because of the attack buff and everything that went down with Feixiao and her worse speed and stuff, Robin is now an even better support for Feixiao's team than she was before. She is just straight up the best in slot, and it isn't even close, right? And Sparkle basically loses a lot of value, again, for this team. Which sucks, but it is what it is, right? Because personally, I'm going to use Sparkle if I do end up going for Feixiao, because I don't have Bronya on my account. I'm super unlucky. I just don't have Bronya, right? Another thing to say, I've heard from a lot of people that E6 Moze works better than E0 Topaz. So take that with what you will, but it does seem, at least in the Feixiao team, it is true, and Moze is just straight up better than E0 Topaz. And some people may argue E0 S1 Topaz is better, but then you could just put her light code on Moze and make him better. So E0 Topaz right now is worse than Moze from the looks of it. I knew this was going to end up happening. I had people coping the last time I made my Feixiao kit overview that, oh, Topaz is the most needed on the team. Topaz is the most broken on the team. I don't even know how they even came up with this. Like, no, Topaz can very easily be replaced by March 7th or Moze. But they were just coping and coping and coping. Oh, no, Topaz is the best in slot for... No, they aren't. Topaz is not even close to the best in slot on this team. It's Robin. And it's not even close. It's Robin by an absolute mile, right? So, if you want to do this, if you want to go for Feixiao, she did get, I feel like, a lot of nerfs in terms of hyper carry. Like, if you're going to run her in a hyper carry team, these are pretty huge nerfs in my opinion. However, in the follow-up attack team, if you have like all the units already for a follow-up attack team, this is a slight buff in my opinion, right? And Robin is looking even more necessary for her to really shine, if I'm being honest. Someone actually did a calculation on the zero cycle video of E0 S1 Feixiao, and Moze did like 1.3 million HP like damage, and Feixiao did like 2 million. So like, it's a thing where the damage that everyone in the team combined is doing is a lot more like it shines a lot more than just Feixiao's damage. Like, it's Moze doing damage, it's Feixiao doing damage. I'm pretty sure Venturine was even doing 50 to 60k ults, 40 to 50k follow-ups consistently, like over and over and over again, right? So it seems like right now hyper carry teams for Feixiao kind of got worse and follow-up attack teams got better. Now, I hope they rerun Robin. I'm going to be straight up. I really hope they either rerun Aventurine or Robin during the 2.5 patch. Because if not, it's kind of like... a lot of people skipped Aventurine, and even more people skipped Robin. Like, I skipped Robin because I didn't want to deal with her dumbass singing ult. And I used to think that, oh, I have Sparkle, I don't need another Harmony from Pedagogy. And then I ended up being completely wrong. So I really hope they rerun one of the two, because otherwise I don't know what they're doing. Because I do feel like most people don't have Robin. I'm going to be straight up. I feel like most people have not pulled on Robin's banner and didn't get her. And instead they just waited, right? So that's all the changes. Moze is now really good for the Feixiao team. He used to be pretty ass. Now he's really good. Better than an E0 Topaz. Feixiao overall works better in follow-up teams. Works worse in hyper carry teams. For example, like I used to see like 0 cycles of Feixiao, Gallagher, Branya, and Robin. I don't know if it's as effective anymore. We'll have to see when more videos come out of this. And I'm not mad. However, I still think Feixiao does need to be changed. I think straight up, Feixiao... The problem with Feixiao is like Boot Hill. I've already seen a run with Boot Hill, because keep in mind, the reason why there weren't any Boot Hill like leaked gameplay on YouTube for the new 2.5 MOC was apparently the private servers were bugged, and there was something wrong with Boot Hill's damage. So now they fixed Boot Hill's damage, and Boot Hill is hitting like 800k on Hule, 1.1 mil on Hule. Like, it's very, very broken how Boot Hill is. However, I want you to keep in mind, I don't think E0 S1 Boot Hill can one cycle. And he almost barely scratches away with one cycle. And it's almost two cycles. It will be 2 to 3 cycles if you don't play optimally, right? Because the problem with Boot Hill is he has this big dick damage, but like, it kind of works where like, he has to spend like 2 or 3 of his turns just breaking the mob to begin with, right? Like, he has to spend 2 to 3 turns just breaking the boss or the mob, and then he can finally hit for like 800k or a milli, right? So that's why currently Feixiao is better than him, at least in a follow-up team. I think in hyper carry, it could go either way, because as I said before, Boot Hill does more damage usually. However, it takes him longer to destroy the break bar and be able to get that damage off, right? So that's it. That's the video. That's the kit overview. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys going to be pulling for Moze? Are you guys going to be pulling for Feixiao? Right now, E6 Moze looks absolutely incredible. He looks like he had an insane glow up from the previous version. So yeah, hope you have a good day. We have a good night. Peace.